Welcome back to Fearless and Unfiltered. Today we are going to do our first ever visual episode. So if you are listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or while you're driving the car, you'll still be able to get some information from this. But if you do have access to watch this on YouTube where the video will be posted, it's going to be very helpful, because what we're going to do today is talk about LinkedIn. It's new year, new me season, right? We all have goals we're chasing. And as somebody in the social media and personal brand space, the very first thing I would direct you to do is do a quick audit of your socials. Where do you show up the most? Where are your ideal clients? And for many of us as service providers, LinkedIn is the place that we go. So I have my LinkedIn pulled up on the screen here. I was going to do an actual audit and walk you through that with somebody else's profile. But the reason that I've decided to share my own is because then I can also show you how to edit it, where the different settings are and things like that. So I'm going to take you through the entire checklist that I would typically do for a new client. I have a checklist that I run through, and we're going to do that right now here in this episode. So I want you to think of your LinkedIn as your first impression. I always say that your social media profiles are basically like your digital storefront. If someone is introduced to you, or if somebody clicks on your social media from your website, or if they just happen to like a piece of content and they look at your page, they are very quickly going to be able to tell who you are, what your vibe is, what you sell, or at least they should be able to do all of those things. And I guess that is the point of an edit, right? So the very first place that we start is up here at the top with the visuals. So I see so often that people will leave this header image, it's called, blank. They'll leave it as what LinkedIn automatically puts there, or they'll choose one of the generic photos that LinkedIn allows you to choose from. I would highly suggest creating your own image. And truth be told, I rotate these images quarterly based on whatever I'm selling at the time. So right now you'll see on the screen that I have an image that has my logo, it has my headshot, and it says book your VIP social media experience, 1 day, 12 pieces of done for you content. That is the service that I am focused on selling right now, is this VIP social media experience. So this is almost like a billboard, something that will grab your attention from the moment you click into the profile. Next, we look at the profile photo. The biggest mistake I see here is people will use a beautiful photo, but it might be a full body shot, or it might be their profile. We want your photo to be head on and as close and personal that it can be without feeling uncomfortable. The reason being is that if someone is just scrolling LinkedIn and they see a piece of content from you, or they see a comment that you left, they're not really going to look at the actual photo. They're going to see a very small thumbnail, and we want them to be able to see your face. This is for just brand recognition. If someone meets you in person, they want to be able to distinguish, this is the person I follow online, the person that I've learned from. And I've actually seen this happen in person with one of my clients. I was walking through a conference with her, and she was recognized by somebody she had not met before based on her LinkedIn content, because her profile is head on and you can clearly see her face when you are reading her content. Next, we're going to look at your headline. The biggest mistake that I see here is people will use acronyms or something that relates directly to their field, but that not everyone else might understand. So I see this often with lawyers, doctors, people who have various degrees. We want to know your expertise, but we want to know it without having to think about it. So I direct people to use keywords. This is a very keyword sensitive place. So if someone is searching for your particular role in your particular industry, think about what they would search for and use those keywords. Make it as direct and authority driven as possible. Here you'll see contact information and a direct link. So if you click on contact information, you'll be able to see my website, my email. If you're editing your own profile, this is where you'd edit your contact info and where you can decide how much you share. You don't have to share all of it. You could share more. You can share less. That is a personal preference of yours. I highly suggest at least linking your website and your email, because you want someone to be able to get in touch with you directly. A question that comes up often, if you're looking at the screen here, you'll see that my email is my personal email, alyssaolerud@gmail.com. I don't have this linked to my Fearless Media email because when I created this profile, I didn't own Fearless Media. I had a corporate email. And like so many of us, our jobs change. We start different businesses. Our email addresses change. You want to make sure that your email address is the most consistent one that you had, so that if you do change jobs in a year or so and you forget to update your LinkedIn, someone can still get in touch with you. You don't want an email going somewhere that it's just going to bounce back and you're never going to see it, because that defeats the entire purpose of building your brand online. Next, it's very important to add a personalized link. For me, this brings me to my landing page, basically, where you can then purchase my ebook or submit an inquiry for a discovery call, listen to the podcast, so on and so forth. I use this link in bio tool called Pensite. I'll link it in the show notes, and this allows you to really just send people exactly where you want to send them. You can edit all of this by clicking the pencil that is in the top right button next to your contact information. So if you click this here, you'll see on the screen, this is where you can update your information. You can update your headline, your position, your industry, your school. You can decide what exactly you want to be shown in your intro. Then if you want to edit the link that sends people where you want to send them, that's this custom button. So you'll hit edit custom button and you can decide, do you want them to visit your website? Do you want them to visit your portfolio, your blog, view your newsletters, book an appointment? This is all entirely up to you. And this is where people get stuck a lot of the time. In fact, I will call myself out here right now. This should not be my masterclass link because I'm not actively selling it. I'm going to go ahead and just make it my website for the time being. Next, I'm going to point up here to the top right of the screen where it says public profile and URL. This is all searchable, right? So most people don't know that you can actually edit this. Many times it's going to be linkedin.com/your name and a bunch of different numbers. To make it simpler for algorithm purposes, for searchability purposes, delete those numbers and just have it be your first and last name. Going back to my profile, I'm going to scroll to the About section. This section is one of the sections that I feel like people lose the most momentum. What I see most often is someone will have a summary about their job or their current role and how they work with customers. But similarly to my point about the email address, when you're building a personal brand, those things, what you do for work might change, but who you are, your area of expertise, your values, that will never change. So your About section should be written about you, and it should be written for your buyer, not your peers. Meaning, again, we're not going to use acronyms. We're going to use this simplest language that our buyers would understand, and we're going to tell a story. We're not going to list our resume. So what I like to direct people to do is start with a quick background on what you do now, what your background is, how you got there, and then a few personal things about you. And when I say personal, I don't mean too personal. I'm talking about things that could be a connection point for other people. So for example, I have a section that says a few things about me. I read for 10 minutes every morning and I love sharing what I learn. I'm in the midst of raising 2 toddlers. I'm originally from New York, but have lived in Florida, Pennsylvania, Illinois, and now North Carolina. All super basic things. I am not getting too vulnerable here. But what this does is creates a connection point. I cannot tell you how many times I've received a message about something that I have listed here. And that tells me that the person who is reaching out to me isn't just cold DMing me. They actually did their research and they took the time to learn about me before messaging me. So in my case, that helps me qualify the person who's reaching out to me. For the person reaching out, that gives them an easy touch point. I've personally done it as well. I've reached out to someone who I wanted to be connected with about pickleball because I saw that in their headline they talked about pickleball, and that has nothing to do with what they do or why I want to form a connection with them, but it's an easy touch point because I like pickleball and I can talk about it all day, every day. The point here is to give a lifestyle piece, give someone a easy way to reach out to you if they want to start a conversation. And then talk about yourself from a business standpoint, what you value, the direction you're going in, and the people you want to work with. Lastly, you'll see that I have specialties listed here. Social media training, ghostwriting, event planning. These are all things that you would be able to see if you looked at my resume, but we purposefully include these words here because This is all searchable, as they say. The algorithm, if someone typed in social media training, the fact that social media training is in my about, it's also in my headline, it's also in my services, it's multiple places throughout my profile. That is going to quickly bring my profile to the forefront if someone is looking for a social media trainer. So we want to make this as keyword heavy as possible. And simply listing your specialties is a really easy way to do that. Next, you'll have the featured section. And this is a very underutilized tool. This basically is equivalent to a pinned post on Instagram or highlighted stories. This lets you show off what you want people to see first. So I have a recommendation here. One of my clients wrote me a recommendation, and it is exactly what I would want someone to know if they were thinking about working with me. So I pinned it because it's not me saying, here's what I do, here's how I can help you. It's someone else saying it. And that third party validation goes a long way when someone is choosing whether or not they want to work with you. So if you have a recommendation that you're proud of, definitely pin it in your featured section. If you have a post that went viral, or if you had a post that gets a lot of attention, you can pin that here as well. You can also upload documents specifically to your featured section. So for me personally, I uploaded a speaker sheet so that if anybody is thinking about hiring me to come speak to a group or at a conference, they can literally see the menu of talks that I give and what I am good at doing without even having to ask me. It's another qualifying entry point. I also have a case study listed. Again, this is something that I didn't post about. You can find it on my website, but it's just another qualifying thing that if someone was thinking about working with me and had some questions that maybe they weren't sure if they wanted to reach out yet, these case studies, these speaker sheets, these recommendations, anything you put in your featured section should theoretically be able to answer some questions for them. Next, you'll have activity, and this is just your posts. You can actually edit what you want to show here. So I currently have it set to all posts. If you were to go to my activity section, you'll just see my last couple posts. But when I was doing a lot of video, when LinkedIn was really pushing video content, I clicked this button here and just made it so that it showed my videos first, because that helped me stand out amongst my competitors. Now, if you have an event coming up, or if you regularly post a newsletter via LinkedIn, you might want to have those things pop up first when someone comes to your profile. This is a personal preference and should be based on which tools you are actively leading into. Next up, we're going to look at your experience section. This is basically like your resume. I would list everything that you have done in the past 15 years, because many times the things that you did 15 years ago might still be guiding the way for how you work now, or lessons that you learned. So you want to make sure everything is included in here, and not just the title and the company, but what you did. Whatever you have written on your resume, add it in here too. If someone is typing in sales training specialist or supervisor or social media agency, everything I have here is searchable. And this is another way for your profile to be at the forefront in your industry. Education and volunteering is a given. Make sure you fill this stuff in. Having your school is such an easy touch point for someone. I have had people reach out to me that I did not know when I went to school. Now we are collaborating because that connection, that alumni connection, runs deep and runs forever. Add your school, add what you were involved in, make people want to ask questions. It is just a very easy and well-rounded way to complete your profile. I have two more things for you. That's the skills section. And what people often don't realize is that you can have up to 50 and you can change them. So if there is something that's popular right now, let's say you've really learned how to use AI and you're not an expert in AI, but you use it regularly in your job, add that to your skills section, because this is something that people are searching for. This is a skill that many people don't have yet, and it will set you far and beyond other people who may not have it listed here. And then once you choose a skill, you direct it to where on your resume you utilized it. So it coincides with what is in your experience section. Make sure that on a yearly basis, update your skill section and bring to the forefront the things that you want to be known for. Finally, the recommendation section. I mentioned earlier that these are a really good thing to have on your profile. You can edit them by clicking that pencil. You can ask for a recommendation simply by searching for the person and then asking them to leave you a recommendation. If you don't want to ask, a very good way to start to increase your recommendations is to naturally give them. If you work with a client or you work with a vendor, or if you work for somebody and you have good things to say about them, it does not hurt anybody if you put it in writing on LinkedIn. It helps them, it helps you, it is a win-win. So give and ask for recommendations. This is a high level look at a standard LinkedIn audit that I would do for one of my clients. Again, do this for yourself every quarter, every year at minimum. Look at the way you are set up. At bare minimum, make sure your links are working and directing people where you want them to go. Because the easier it is for people to work with us, the more likely they are to work with us. The easier it is for someone to have their questions answered, the more likely they are to work with you. Think about yourself as a consumer. The more barriers that are in the way, the less likely you are to reach out. So it's our job as business owners to remove those barriers, answer those questions, and invite people into our digital space. LinkedIn and Instagram audits are something that I love doing. They're so fun for me. I love getting creative and looking at people's online presence with a fresh set of eyes. So if this is something that you feel like you could utilize, feel free to leave a comment or visit my website. This is my entry-level service that I offer. So even if you don't need a social media manager right now and you just want someone to take a look, put eyes on, and optimize your profile, I am happy to work with you in that capacity. And if you guys want me to do this for Instagram too, or if you have any other questions, drop a comment or send me a message on LinkedIn and I'd be happy to answer that for you. Thank you again for listening to Fearless and Unfiltered. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.